Hello, everyone. I'm sitting here at the General Convention of the Episcopal Church on the 25th of June, 2024. And I'm sitting with Charlie McCarron, who has a very interesting set of mission stories. And I'm just going to begin with the opening question, Charlie. What is your mission story?
I probably first got interested in mission as a student. I got my Master of Divinity at Maryknoll School of Theology, which was a mission-focused seminary concentrated on going across borders. So we all, after our first 2 years of academic work, we were required to go for a year of cross-cultural practice full time. So because I was going for another master's at the time of the summers, I was sent to Spanish Harlem for my cross-cultural. My classmates went to Guam and Okinawa and Honduras for a year. We had linguistics in seminary. So it put, and the emphasis was on liberation theology. So from those early days which were many moons ago, this love of crossing boundaries and seeking the presence of Christ in other cultures was put in me. So when I went to General Seminary, which was where I met Father Titus, I requested, and I had been doing HIV work for a long time at that time. I requested a grant to go to the church in Uganda, where I worked with the HIV programs in the Diocese of Namirembe in Kampala, and increased my love for mission work. And currently, I'm serving as the Minister Provincial of the Province of the Americas of the Third Order of the Society of St. Francis. So our region goes from northern Canada to southern Brazil. We have 600 members. Some are indigenous. Many of our members in Brazil, I had the chance to visit in Rio Grande do Sul, work with indigenous communities, the aldeias, and also with the Quilomboas, communities of freed or runaway, what were started as communities runaway African slaves. So it has given me the grace of a real diversity of experience of church and how church is. And as I was just saying to Titus last week, through the miracle of Zoom, I've taught 2 weeks to Franciscan friar novices in the Solomon Islands, indigenous Solomon Islands.
Thank you so much, Charlie.
You're welcome.
In the midst of all of that, how has your experience of God grown and developed?
I'm very much aware of the many ways that God speaks in so many languages, so many cultures, and the universal presence of the divine, that we are called not to bring to a place, but to discover a new place and to be awakened to it.
Can you think of a particular story that illustrates that, a particular encounter, a particular relationship, whether it's the Solomon Islands or down in South America, Brazil, whatever the case may be?
Well, I'll tell a story from Queens, New York. How's that?
That's great.
So I was the pastor of a church in Richmond Hill, which is the largest Guyanese immigrant community in the United States. So the community is mostly Indo-Guyanese, so South Asian Guyanese. And most of my sacraments of initiation, marriage, or baptism were either Hindu Christian or Muslim Christian. And I remember being in our church, which was this beautiful old Victorian church, and this Hindu woman and her daughter saw me out in the street in front of the church, and they asked me, do you have Mary? And we did, actually, since it was an Anglo-Catholic church, we actually had a lady chaplain. And I said, yes, we have Mary. And so she said, can we do puja? Can we come in to pray? And so I welcomed her in. I brought her to the lady chapel, and her and her daughter, in saris, removed their shoes and spent some time in silent prayer. So I realized that across vast cultural boundaries, something of that divine feminine, the feminine face of God, gave me that wonderful experience of this beautiful Hindu mother and her child coming to encounter God in our church, and realizing for them it was the same experience.
Of course, I grew up with puja in India. Yes. And Charlie, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. May God bless you in your work in Shelter Island, New York.
Thank you.
And with the Third Order Franciscans, and with all of in the midst of the abundance of all of these intercultural and interreligious encounters.
Thank you
so much.
Good to see you.